and welcome to Racing to Win. This is Hong Kong's twice weekly racing preview program, and we've got Sha Tin covered on this Sunday, joined by Paul Lally and Tom Wood. And Tom, there's some good clashes on the program, maybe none better than that between Drops of God and Winner Method.
Yeah, that should be a beauty, Mark. And then the last race on the program, Class 2 over the 1,600 metres. Good quality affair there, Tourbillon Diamond at the top of the page. But meet some horses that are in form towards the bottom, the likes of Looking Good, who's been able to win his last couple. So that's a highlight on the program also.
Paul Lally also joins us. We'll talk about the big jackpot shortly, Paul, but it's not the only one on the program.
No, we've got a 6-up win bonus jackpot as well. That's going to start at 2.8 million, so we're expecting that to get up to around 7 million. And then the big one, 61 million jackpotting, should get up to around 90 million. So it's a massive one.
We'll have a focus on that very shortly. Firstly, though, a check of the meeting details and what we're covering here on Racing to Win. We're on the C course for the 8 turf races, and there's two legs of the triple trio on the all-weather. Races 8 and 10 will be our focus here for the program. You can find all of the other races at hkjc.com and click on the audio video icon, and preview by preview will be right there. The triple trio, races 4, 5 and 6, as Paul said, jackpot 61 million. Estimated dividend for a $10 winning unit is $90 million. It is the highest triple trio dividend since the 2012 and 2013 racing syndicate. We're just going to touch on each of the legs, boys. And Tom, a Class 5 on the all-weather to kick us off. Surely you only need Dragon Commander, Regency Jim in the field, don't you? Well,
it doesn't get much harder than that. Class 5 on the all-weather to kick the TT. I thought Dragon Commander was probably one. Whether Regency Jim can back up like his last win suggested, it was pretty enormous really from where he came from. And maybe a horse like Shine a Lot and potentially the Full Bloom who ran well last time out. That'd be a few I'd be including on the first leg.
Yeah, I agree. I think they sort of look the main ones, don't they? So, yeah, Dragon Commander, I'm sure, is going to be a lot of people's bankers. He's been so consistent, this horse, and you only need one to run in the first 3.
What about race number 5? Tom, the only one on the turf.
Yeah, and it's a wide open race. I've been a fan of Packing Award since he's been here, although he wants to do a little bit wrong. Zone D's not done too much wrong. I would be willing to give Winning Brew a bit of a chance. Then Darcy Joy won at a bigger price. He's drawn awkwardly, but I think he's slowly improving.
Yeah, I'm with Zone D. I think Zone D, with a lower draw, looks really well placed in this race, Joe Moreira aboard. So he'd be definitely my idea of a banker in this particular contest. As Tom says, Packing Award's got plenty of ability, and he does a few things wrong. And from that wide draw, he just hopefully everything goes right for him on the day. But yeah, I do like Zone D. I think he's a little bit more of a solid banker.
You can go first for the last leg, Paul, and we go back to the all-weather for this one over the 1650.
Yeah, I like one at a big price here, V Chevalier. Now, he trials really well on the surface. He's coming here for the first time under race day, Alexi Bedell aboard. He should be a double-figure price, but I think the logical bank is probably going to be Fairy Floss. I mean, he's up in grade, but he runs so well on the surface, and with the lightweight, he'd probably be my idea of a banker. But the other one, I think, could run a bit of a race at a price is Yes We Can.
I'd be a little nervous about bankering Fairy Floss, unplaced from 6 in the grades. That's a little bit of a mark next to his name. And so maybe even Double Take. He's been racing consistently on the surface as well. So
Fairy Floss beat Dragon Commander, who's in the first league twice and dead heated with him 3 starts ago on the all-weather. OK, that's the triple trio quick preview. We're going to focus on our 2 races here. The first of them is race number 8. It's over the 1,200 metres and Winner Method. Zach Burton rides for Danny Schumi. Was beaten last time by Carroll Street, but he does go up to the 1,200 metres for the first time. Fantasy is the 2 horse, never clear last time. He's had breathing issues at his last 2 starts. We've got Tornado Twist, who's a 3-time course and distance winner, draws the rail. Rock Your Heart, a first starter for Francis Loy, was I Am Thirsty racing in Australia, went over 1,100 at the Gold Coast and 1,200 at the Sunshine Coast and further down. Brilliant Diamond last start winner and Drops of God, absolutely scintillating on debut for Joe Moreira and John Size. Speed map time, Tom. So interesting with Drops of God leading up on debut. Will he have the speed to do it again?
I think you'll be able to fire forward, but Winner Method has drawn gate number 7, Drops of God, and gate number 10. Would you envisage, Paul, maybe Drops of God pressing on with it to try and head off Winner Method, or they match each other but not go too hard?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, you've got the top 2 jocks on board, haven't you, with Zach Purdon and Joe Moreira. So if Drops of God does want to go and lead, then I'm sure Zach will hand up. They won't get into a speed duel, whatever happens, these two, and vice versa. I think if Zach's adamant he'll lead, then I don't think Joe will take him on. So around those two. The one that could put a little bit of pace onto it, though, is that Big Fortune out wide, because he's drawn wide. He's got the Apprentice on as well, so he might be keen to go forward, and he has gone forward in the past.
Yeah, Diamond, brilliant. Beauty Amigo are both horses that like to race prominently as well, and they will feature there, I feel, for this assignment.
So that's the speed map, and here is one of the two speed options in the race, Tom, in Winner Method. This was under the lights, a rare under the lights down the turf last time. He was beaten and he stepped up to the 1200. Yeah,
course and distance for the first time for Winner Method. He was up on the speed here. Just wondered if he just ran with a choke out a little bit in the opening stages. Then by the time he got to the 400 metres, Paul, Zach was starting to get stuck into him.
He was. He did respond nicely enough, so the 1200 probably looks ideal for him now at this stage of his preparation. And he did get beaten by a smart one there in Carroll Street.
He's drawn inside Winner Method, of course, of Drops of God. 7 plays 10. Second replay features Fantasy. Paul, this was a horse that you didn't mind last time. He didn't have much luck in this race, but he has had those breathing issues at his last two. Yeah,
look, he hasn't raced for a long time, this horse. This was his fresh up run. So he was he was allowed to sort of fade out towards the end of the race. But I just like the way he did stay on nicely once he got into the clear. It was a good run from him. He'll be second up now, so we'll see how he gets on in this particular contest. He meets a couple of smart ones.
He just had to snatch up late there a bit, but abnormal breathing in his last couple and a roar as well. You can deal me out of that.
OK, so a no for Tom on Fantasy. Beauty Amigo led up here, shown on the speed map as taking a trail this week, Tom. In Tornado Twist, he's got a good draw and a good record over the course and distance too.
It's been a while since he's been able to win Tornado Twist, but he's sort of been there or thereabouts in his last few, so he is slowly coming back to form. He wasn't the quickest out last time out. I thought he stayed on well enough here. This, of course, behind Killer Bee. He's drawn gate number 1, so he should get a nice run through, Paul.
Yeah, he should get a nice enough run, shouldn't he? Look, he's been threatening for a while now, this horse, and sort of runs his 4th, 5th, like he does here as well. I've got him in a very minor loss.
That was the smart Killer Bee that beat him there with Joe Moreira in the saddle. Joe rides Drops of God, who's come up a very short priced 1.3 favourite early in betting. We sent Mark out to track work to have a chat with Joe. Joe, you've ridden some really nice first starters this season. How did you rate Drops of God's debut against them?
Another one, very nice one. He's done it in a good way at his first run, and we couldn't ask for more than what he did. You know, he's such a professional horse.
Much harder field this week. He showed plenty of early speed on debut, but he's also been ridden back in the trials. Do you need to go forward in Class 3, or are you happy to go back if you need to?
If I need to, I'm happy to go back. He seems to be a bit versatile type of a horse, and off a light weight, I guess he's going to be able to hit the line very strong. You know, it is a strong race. He's up in class, but I think the light weight on his back is going to appreciate that, and we just about find out if he's up to the class. I believe he is, and I'm quite excited to be sitting on his back on the weekend once again.
You won by 2 lengths on debut. Was there plenty more to give if you had have needed it?
Yes, plenty left in the tank, and we wonder why Size back him up in 2 weeks' time. You know, that means he kind of felt that the horse done what he needed to do without overdoing at his first attempt. So he's another horse that no doubt people should keep their eyes on him, because he seems quite promising.
Last week, Sky Darcy returned in the Lion Rock Trophy. Nice to see him back, and back with a win too.
Yeah, that was a tough one. The leader was the horse actually who got in front, made it a bit hard for him at the finishing, but he won on his heart. He knows what his job is, and he gave his very best once again and took us to the stage. So it's such a nice position to be, having such a nice horse in hands, isn't it?
There he is, Joe Moreira. Tom, are you a Drops of God fan with a lighter weight, or Winner Method maybe to push him right to the end?
Absolutely, Drops of God. He'll win hands down. End of story.
Wow. Paul?
Yeah, look, I tend to agree with Tom there. I think those are the clear two, just the way the handicap is. It's really going to help Drops of God. The only thing is second up, but look, the way the horse is going, I don't think it's going to affect them. So yeah, I'm with Tom. I think he'll win.
And as Joe said, John Size backing him up quickly, so he's come through that run absolutely perfectly. Drops of God on top for you, Paul, to beat Winner Method.
Yeah, I think they're the two standout. That's the real quinella of the race there, and they're well clear of anything else. I'm going to give Fantasy another chance. I know he's got those breathing problems, but he did run really nicely last time, even with them. So he's in there for third, and Tornado Twist is there or thereabouts without doing too much. But there's two standout horses here, 11 and 1.
Yeah, likewise, Quinella will forecast, but I think Drops of God will just win and win well. Winner Method can go in as well. Big fortune if he can get across without having to do too much work and Tornado Twist, but certainly the 11 over the 1, 3 and 5.
Drops of God to remain unbeaten in race number 8 at Sha Tin. Just before we break, a reminder about Hong Kong Direct you'll find on hkjc.com under the audio and video tab. Bill Nader stopped by. Bill is the Director of Racing and Business Operations and had plenty to chat about with Andrew Lejeune. That is on this week's Hong Kong Direct. Right now, though, on Racing to Win, we're off to a break. Time to look at race number 10 now, and this race is another talented lineup as well, headed by Torbjorn Diamond at the top of the book. It's a Class 2 over the 1600 metres, and Zach Purton rides the one for Danny Schum. He was beaten by Sava Quinn 3 starts ago. Sava Quinn has since run second behind Zar in track record time at the Valley. The Rock has the pacifiers back on. Super Oasis, the blinkers, the hood and the cross noseband come off. Amazing Chocolate has his first start for David Ferraris. Further down, Lakeshore Regal has the shadow roll off and the visor goes on. Sunshine Warriors, both his wins have been over 1400 metres at Sha Tin. Flagship Glory goes up to the 1600 metres, and number 13 Bigwood has the blinkers off in race number 10. Over at the speed map once again here, Tom, in this race, how do they jump from the gates?
Well, Mark, it's a race that's sort of bereft of any speed up front, natural leader, so might be left to The Rock, who's out of barrier number 14 for Chad Schofield to press on. He has led in the past. That was when he was a winner over Conqueror, and that was over 1600 metres. Smiling time there from gate number 1. Bigwood might be able to press on. Torbjorn Diamond shouldn't be too far away, but did you see any other challenges, Paul, to be the leader in this?
Well, I just wonder about Looking Great. Would he try and go forward a little bit from his wide draw? Amazing Chocolate stepping up to 1600 metres as well with the new stable, so there might be a change of tactics with him as well. They'll probably be the two. I mean, Bigwood, hasn't raced for a long. I mean, he's second up after a long time, so it'd be interesting to see if he's got the pace to go forward.
Yeah, not a guaranteed leader in the race, Mark, so I doubt that it'll be a strong tempo.
Well, Zach Purton rides Torbjorn Diamond. He went forward last time from a far better draw. Let's find out if Zach thinks he'll go forward again. Zach, Torbjorn Diamond this week, was he just beaten by a lighter weighted horse last time in Sava Quinn?
He was to a certain degree, but he also drew wide that day and I had to roll forward to get across. We went a little bit quick through the first part of the race, and then Derek on the leader backed the speed off too much and allowed those horses that were well back in the field to get within 3 lengths of us, and then with the lighter weight he was able to run me down. But I thought it was a really good effort after having a bit of a let up. He's working well since. He's drawn a good gate, so hopefully we can atone for that.
He's been to the trials and sat wide in that trial. Was that always the plan?
Yeah, just let him roll around, go through his action. He was a bit grubby that day. I didn't want to get too much dirt on me.
You've got a much better draw this week. What about the early pace? Might you get an easier lead in this field?
Possibly. He doesn't necessarily have to lead. He's a horse that has shown he's versatile. He's come from different positions in the field in a number of races and run equally as well. So in that respect, he's very easy to ride. So I'll just let him begin, and he can find the position that's comfortable for him, and hopefully it's the right one.
This is his best distance this week?
I think a mile is good distance for him for sure. It's not to say that he can't run 1800 or 2000. I thought his run in the Derby was very good from a bad gate. If he had drawn well there, he possibly could have been winning that race. So once again, he's versatile to ride in a race, and he can run over a number of distances.
1600 it is this week. Tom, barrier number 2, just got caught in that early bustle last time. What about this week?
Yeah, I think he's going to be a major player in this race. I just think there's a couple of horses down the bottom that are going to potentially give him a challenge. Just with that top weight he has to carry, Paul. Yeah,
that's the key, isn't it? He's got to carry the 133, but he's a class horse, and it was a really good run last time. He just got beaten by Savaquin, who's another rival in this race.
He is, and we can go to some of the replays right now, and we start out at Happy Valley. And speaking of Savaquin, he goes around in this race, but that's Lakeshore Regal firstly in between horses there, and Savaquin, Paul, in the yellow cap to his inside. Now, they did go a track record in this race.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? But look, both horses hit the line strongly enough. They both have now come back to Sha Tin, where they both won numerous times as well. So neither are going to be disadvantaged by that. Savaquin's now up and weight against Tourbillon Diamond. That was the key. It's a really strong race, and he almost made it in Savaquin, but didn't quite.
He's definitely in for me, Savaquin. The horse that didn't quite get in, but he was right on the cusp, was Lakeshore Eagle. I think he's nicely suited here. Shadow Roll coming off. Pfizer goes on for the first time. He was at the rear and he was wide down the side, but just like the way he closed off here, he is a 3-time course and distance winner as well.
We go here, Tom, to a race over the 1,800 metres. That's looking great in those white and red colours about midfield. He's won back-to-back races. He comes into Class 2 for the first time as we pick it up from about the 500.
Yeah, so he looked to be under a bit of pressure here, and he had to cover some ground down the side to last started looking great, but he's won his last 2 really nicely. Coming through this race and winning, you've got Beauty Fit towards the inside there, and Ensemble, who derailed to the triple trio here last weekend. He's come out and won. So the form stacked up okay around him, but he won it with some authority here, Paul.
Yeah, I like this horse. I think he's quite progressive. He obviously wasn't ready for the Derby as a 4-year-old, but look, he's really come into his own later in the season. Now, he did run over 1,600 3 starts ago and was just beaten by Authentic Champ right on the post, so I'm not worried about him coming back in trip either.
OK, so that's looking great. Joe Moreira on board. Now, this is on the all-weather. On the 8th of May, we've got The Rock. He ends up running second. He's out there doing some work. Hong Kong Great's just bowling along in front. Also in this field is Highland Fortune. He's out wide too with some cover. Sunshine Warrior is back in the field. He's one off the rail. And Bigwood is up outside the leader. And we saw on the speed map, Paul, that he might be out there 3 wide again. They're all chasing Hong Kong Great at this stage.
Yeah, he's probably our best dirt horse here in Hong Kong. So The Rock is the one I'm going to take out of this race. Obviously, different surface, but all these horses have performed okay on the turf or won on the turf in the past. And I just really like the way The Rock finished off here. It was a really nice run from him. So, look, I've got him in on a very minor line.
He had to cover a bit of ground throughout The Rock. He's up 23 pounds on this last start run, but look, it was a nice enough effort. He gave chase. He was no match for the winner on this occasion, Hong Kong Great. Other than that, I think Highland Fortune sort of outclassed at this sort of level. And Sunshine Warrior's form's just dropped away the last couple. So if I had to pick one out of that, it would be The Rock.
Pacifier's come off this week. He's drawn barrier number 14, Chad Schofield and Casper Founds, the combination. Tom, this is a newcomer, Amazing Chocolate, formerly with Tony Millard, has moved stables to David Ferraris, has had just the one turf trial for David.
Yeah, and he's tried 1,600 in the past and he's failed. He's won it 1,500 overseas. He'd placed at 1,900 and also 1,600 metres overseas. David Ferraris has now got him now. This trial here was over 800 metres. I'm just happy to watch, Paul.
Yeah, look, he hasn't had a trial for the new stable, Amazing Chocolate, and this was with his old stable. And look, 1,600 metres from 800 metres, I'm just a little bit query about. And yeah, I'm not sure. Look, he almost made it in because I think he's a class horse.
Can't read my handwriting. She said no trials for David. Written down, it was one that was still with the Millard Barn. Amazing Chocolate goes around over the 1,600 metres. Selections for a very good race, the last, Paul.
Yeah, really good race to finish. I mean, it's going to be a really good betting race, this one. I'm with the 12, though. Comes in really well at the weights, looking great. And it's come up a decent price at this stage. I think he'll come in a little bit, but I think he's very progressive. Tourbillon Diamond, that will be the toughest to beat, but has to carry the big weight. Flagship Glory has been going well most of the season. And I did like the run of The Rock, and he had been running well on the turf before to that. So 12, 1, 10 and 4.
Hoping to get some value in this final race with the Flagship Glory. As you can see, the market's completely skew with at the moment. He's paying $12 for a win and $10 for a place. But I think you get an each-way price around Flagship Glory in the last. Looking great. He's certainly on the charge at the moment. Tourbillon Diamond is the X-factor in the race, coming through the 4-year-old series and just has to carry that top weight, and don't want to leave Savaquin out because he's racing good heart at the moment as well. So 10, 12, 1 and 2.
OK, Paul, we've seen a couple of your on-top selections for races 8 and 10, indeed your top 4. Who else do you like for the rest of the program?
Well, I think it's quite an even card. There's a couple of really nice horses running earlier on. Look, Universal Crown in Class 5 looks the right grade for him. Sparkling Dolphin ran really well down the straight 1,000. Brilliant Fortune's going well. Dragon Commander is going to be a lot of people's bankers in the in the triple trio jackpot. I quite like Zone D as a horse. I think he's very consistent. V Chevalier going well. Lucky With You as a first starter. It's got ability. Drops of Gold. And then the Hulk. I think the Hulk can run a bit of a race in race 9 as well.
So there they are. If you'd like more in-depth analysis on those race-by-race selections, they'll be on hkjc.com. Click on the audio visual tab and all of the preview for the 10 races at Sha Tin on Sunday will be there, including the race that Paul's about to pick his best bet in.
Yeah, I quite like Zone D. I think he's a very consistent horse. He's drawn nicely enough with Joe Moreira aboard. I think he can win and help people out there in the triple trio. He'll be in the middle leg there, Zone D. And in the last leg of the triple trio, this is my long shot, V Chevalier, coming to the surface for the first time. He's drawn a little bit awkwardly, gets back, and he'll be storming home late at a big price. So race 6, number 5, V Chevalier. And we'll do the play in the last leg there of the triple trio with V Chevalier, Yes We Can, and Fairy Floss.
Best bet for me comes up in race number 7 on the program. It's a newcomer, Lucky With You. I think we're going to see a bold performance from this newcomer on debut out of the David Hayes barn for Chad Schofield. Not sure what price he's going to come up, but I want to be on race 7, number 5, Lucky With You. And then the final leg, the final race, I should say, with the number 10, Flagship Glory. He's trialled well coming into this, and Derek Long rides for Frankie Law. He's got the tongue tie on. Horse himself is up 19 pounds. As I said, was under a hold in his most recent trial. So race 10, number 10, Flagship Glory. And we'll put him into the play with the swinger in the last, Tourbillon Diamond, Flagship Glory, and looking great, 1, 10 and 12.
Stick with Tourbillon Diamond in the last. Zach Purton with the ride. Good draw, barrier number 2. Just had to do some work, as we heard from Zach in that interview not too long ago. Got caught in the early bustle, and in the end, an impressive type in Savaquin came from well back and beat him. Kazi Farazi stretched up to the 1,600 metres last start. He didn't run out the trip all that well. He comes back to 1,400 metres. Tony Piccona's on board for Dennis Ship. Thought he might be hard to beat over the 1,400. And the play, race 10, taking on Tom. Tourbillon Diamond, Flagship Glory, the same two as Tom, with Savaquin in between them for a QP. So there we have it, gentlemen, for a big day at Sha Tin, Tom, and it's all about those having a punt. The massive TT.
Yeah, $19 million, the estimated winning unit there for $10. Should be a great spectacle, the TT. Very hard, Paul. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't go off again.
Well, we'll see what happens. There'll be a massive jackpot if it doesn't, but if you do get it, fill your boots.
Thanks, boys. That has been racing to win. A reminder too, with a simulcast coming in for Japan, the first race at Sha Tin on Sunday will be at 12:45, and the best of luck.